Welcome to the Fearlessly Inspired podcast. We are two military veterans ready to lead, empower, and inspire women in all areas of life. We are proof that your past doesn't have to define you and your circumstances don't have to hold you back. We are your hosts, Courtney and Barbara. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, listeners. We are happy to have you back with us. If you are new to our podcast, this week we are going to talk about women empowerment. But to catch up a little bit, some of you may know, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, that 2 weeks ago I decided a little longer than that ago, but 2 weeks ago I got in my car and moved to Florida. And so gratefully I have my best friend here, Barbara, and another battle buddy down here in Florida who have accepted my gypsy ass and are housing me temporarily till I found a home. Thank you, Barbara.
Well, and let's just put this out there. This is our first podcast where we're actually face to face.
Oh, yes, we are. And you're so beautiful tonight.
Oh, thank you. I showered and I brushed my hair and my teeth.
And if you're wondering why our intro sounded like sex phone operators, we have been recently told that we sound like sex phone operators. So we figured we'd give it a little twist tonight and at least make our intro a little more seductive.
So we were trying to figure out, right, why people think this. And, right before we started recording, we're like, talking and we're whispering because I have 2 little kids who are sleeping. And so I'm assuming, right,
possibly
that the reason that we sound that way is because we're typically whispering. It may become that very seductive.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And I've been told that I speak too loud anyway, so.
And I speak really low as it is.
Yeah, she does. She's like a sex phone operator all day long. So let's get to the topic, right? Personally, I think this is a great topic to get into because the definition of women empowerment can easily be misconstrued by any individual, right? So each individual probably has their own definition. Not to say that your definition or opinion of what women's empowerment is wrong, but this gives you guys, the listeners, time to really think about what your definition would be and what it means to you. So just to kind of be, go to the dictionary, right? The dictionary defines empowerment, not women empowerment, but empowerment as the authority or power given to someone to do something, or the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. So, Barbara, how would you personally define women empowerment?
Honestly, I think, in my opinion, like you said, we can all define or give our own spin to this whole women empowerment thing. But that's with anything, right? You can go look up the whole election situation right now and everyone will tell you the good, the bad, the different. Right. And we're all going to put our own spin because it's what we want to believe or we want to support. But for me personally, I think my definition, in my mind, I try to keep it very simple. And it's supporting other women to really conquer their dreams and goals. Whether it's a common goal that I have or it's an individual goal, I want to help them overcome adversity. And if it's something that, we need to work towards equality in that field or that goal, then I definitely want to help them to get closer to that.
Right. And I agree with you. And I kind of like your definition because it is simple. Like, it's not overcomplicated. And so we recently read a definition of women empowerment, and it says women empowerment refers to increasing the spiritual, political, social, or economic strength of women. It often involves the empowered developing confidence in their own capabilities. And we got that from just a slideshare.net website. But we thought it was pretty a well-rounded definition. And
absolutely. And for Courtney and I, we, I think, are on a kind of the same level when it comes to women empowerment. We have the same kind of common goal in what we're trying to do when it comes to women empowerment. So, this particular piece that we pulled out in definition, I think it really kind of
pulls it all together,
right? And it resides, or is that what I'm trying to say?
I can't think of the word.
Yeah,
it's not even 8:00, but I can't think of the word.
But right. We can, we can feel it. Like, yeah. What is the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Oh my God, we're going to come back to that.
Okay, we're going to come back to that. We're going to think about it. But I liked that you talked about it. You mentioned equality, helping others overcome adversity and working towards equality. And I know we talked about this, a few weeks ago or on the drive down to Florida. And, I think people misunderstand the word women empowerment when it comes to equality, because there's this whole feminism movement too. When we're talking about women empowerment, we're talking about, not turning a man's world into a woman's world. We're talking about, turning it into an equal world where all of us have the same rights.
Absolutely.
So,
and we definitely, later on in this podcast are going to get more into, those thoughts and what, our beliefs are behind that. So we definitely, we'll circle back around to that for sure. But, Courtney, we talk about women empowerment, right? And, we're constantly, whether it's on our social media or on our podcast, we're always trying to talk about how we lead other women and whatever. So, what are some ways through your personal mission that you're empowering other women, or that you are trying to empower women?
So I think for me, my purpose is to empower women to discover their voice in their life and business, right? So I believe that, basically, our society and our culture have both consciously and subconsciously taught us to go with the grain rather against the grain, right? So for example, like, I'm sure you, Barbara, have even heard this, don't be bossy, don't speak up, don't cause waves, don't act like that. So all of these things that we're continually told not to do, and not use our voice, we end up losing that voice, right? So when we're not supposed to speak, we're not supposed to share our opinions, that's our voice. But when we're told not to do that, we start losing that voice. Right. So, I just want to remind women that they have a voice and they need to use it. And I want them to help them uncover their dreams and goals while inspiring and empowering them to go chase them. Like, you can uncover dreams and goals all you want, but if you don't go chase them, like, what's the point, right? So basically, like, helping them tap into the power and authority within them. And I use, obviously, power and authority because that's part of empowerment. That's the definition,
Absolutely.
right? But it makes sense. Basically helping them tap into their power and authority within them, right?
Right, absolutely. I 100% agree about that. And, it's funny because, the don't be bossy, right? I mean, anyone who knows me will probably say I'm a bossy person, right?
Right.
And it's probably true. But I recently just saw a quote, and it's like, someday I hope that, they'll change their words to, it's like, instead of saying don't be bossy, it's say, that she's smart and she's intelligent and she's a leader, or something like that. And I was just like, it kind of like just stuck with me for a little bit, because as we're, teaching all these younger women and, our kids this, don't think that just because you're bossy, like it's in a mean or a bad way.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because, and this is, me being blunt. Like, nobody tells a man to not be bossy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody tells a man not to be abrasive.
Right.
You know what I mean? But how many times have you been called bossy or abrasive?
Every day.
Yeah. And I used to, I had this my soldiers complained about me a couple years ago when I first got to San Antonio, and they said, Miss Downs is so abrasive. And I'm like, I think it's funny that you're calling me abrasive when I'm simply like, I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm not gonna cut corners because you're lazy.
Right.
And so I told my boss that. I said, if I was a man, like, there would be no complaint,
right?
Because I'm telling you what to do and you're gonna listen. But because I'm a woman, I'm abrasive, and I'm bitchy or bossy. Right. So anyway,
well, for me, I claim the bitchy and the bossy, so
yeah,
it's all good. But back to something you said about having a voice. And, I agree. We all have a voice, and it definitely should be heard. There's a time and place for everything. I truly believe that. So I'm not saying just go into some random spot and make sure your voice is heard. There's a time and place, in my opinion. But I'd have to say that I honestly have realized more since I hit motherhood, or should I say maybe paid attention more, or started paying attention more. I have a lot of stay-home moms that are my friends, and they truly believe, or they have been told, or their upbringing, I'm not really sure.
Notion.
Yeah, that because they don't bring in the money, they don't or shouldn't have anything to say about what's spent or not spent. And I know that this is a very touchy topic with
absolutely.
anybody, because we all are in different households. There's different stories behind the door, and I don't live in those houses. But, I personally believe, regardless if you are quote unquote the breadwinner, it's a partnership. And each party in the relationship should have a voice.
Right.
Regardless if you compromise and you do what I'm asking, or I compromise and do what you're asking, our voices are both heard equally. Right. And I think that's what we're going for. We're not saying that because you spoke as a woman, we need to do what you said. No, you just need to hear what I'm saying and consider it.
Right.
At
the end of the day, don't use my sex as a reason not to listen to me.
Right.
I have a position. Right. You know what I mean? And position, I'm not saying you should respect a position, but you, in some, in the military, you kind of do.
Right.
You might not respect the person, but you realize, this is their position, they're my supervisor, they're my boss, blah, 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 blah.
And I text you the other day, and, thinking about this podcast, and, I text Courtney and I said, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
That men in the military, they get respect for the position they hold. Mm-hmm. But women have to earn that respect for the position that they hold.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not overnight.
Right. And so, you and I have both been leaders in the military and experienced it. So it's not something we're making up. It's not something, so it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And we are working to not have to do that. Right. Everyone earns respect the same way. But, just a, funny comment, and to end the whole, motherhood and household, I really want to make sure that, the moms out there know, because again, I have a lot of friends that their voice should be heard. Doesn't matter if they do stay home, or, they bring in money or they don't bring money, if they have a side hustle or they don't.
Right.
Being a stay-home mom, and you've witnessed this,
yes,
over the 2 weeks, it's a lot.
Yes.
And, not for nothing, moms, you are household 6, so own that shit.
Hold it down, ladies. Hold it down. And if you don't know what household 6 is, ask one of your military friends or send us a comment. So anyway, we talk about what we think women empowerment is, but what is it not?
In my opinion?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I feel like you're asking me this question because I'm very... I rant about this all the time.
Yes.
And, so I'll give you some cliff notes for the podcast.
Okay. Yes, because we could be here a while. You should have seen my regular non-cliff notes.
Yes.
Just kidding.
So these are my top heartburns about this topic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it means that we should be handed anything as women. We should still have to work hard for those things that we want and we deserve.
Right.
I don't think it means that we have the authority to belittle men or other women for the fact, or just to get what we want.
Right.
Or, to step on somebody else to get that.
Right.
I don't think that women empowerment means that we should treat anyone else like they're less than, or like I just said, step on somebody else to get, to go up in the ladder.
Right.
And then my last one is, I just don't think that women, I don't think that it means that the woman with the most knowledge is the most powerful.
Right. And it's funny because, sometimes I listen to YouTube, and it's called something Motivation University or something, but I always, when Denzel Washington's voice comes in, I always listen to him, and he always says, reach one, teach one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that if we can reach one by teaching and influencing them, like what we're doing now, then we can also empower them.
Absolutely.
So, and although not everyone has shared the same experience as me, I feel like it's my mission to share the knowledge that I have with others who have been in similar situations or worse situations than me, and show them that they can still succeed.
Absolutely.
So I might not know it all, but I'm definitely going to share what I do know.
And I will tell you just a personal story. When I got out of the military and I came in to work in the organization I work in now, I worked my way up the ladder, and I got into somewhat of a mid leadership position. And I had other peers,
Right.
and those peers flat out told me, "You're not my peer." They would not share knowledge with me. You have to go find it yourself.
Right.
I've been in this company for 25 years. I'm not just going to hand over,
all the information and knowledge to you.
Right.
You're too new.
And you can tell like they feel somewhat threatened, and people shouldn't feel like that.
Right.
Because if you share that knowledge, just imagine like how much greater the organization is.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's sad because it happens all the time.
And we're Barbara works still for a DoD organization, and my in was in the military, and I wasn't. I've been in the military 20 years and just retired, so like we don't know what corporate America, if corporate America is like this. So obviously you guys know that we're only giving you what we've experienced in the last 20 years. So
absolutely, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Courtney, as of, we're talking about going from the military to now, right? And so as a veteran and now as an entrepreneur, because that's what you're going into.
Yeah.
What are some of the differences that you see in the two fields when it comes to women empowerment?
Right. And so the one main difference I see in the entrepreneur world is that it's filled with women. Mm-hmm. Women are running and starting their businesses. They're starting companies, and since I am partially in part of a direct sales company, the direct sales space is 74% women in the U.S. Like that's
crazy.
That's crazy. So like I have mentioned before that I rarely, in my 20 years of military experience, I rarely had women help me, mentor me, lead me at all. So making that transition from women who felt like every other woman was competition, kind of like what you kind of said, but you're saying it from an organizational standpoint, not just a woman's standpoint, but we thought these women felt like everybody was their competition. And then I experienced this entrepreneurship journey, and it's the complete difference, because in my entrepreneurship journey, I feel like women are always there to help, and they're always there to share advice, tips, and anything to succeed, because we all want each other to succeed. Right. And so it's like very foreign for me, and I've been in the entrepreneurship world for almost 4 years now, but it's still almost a little foreign to me, because I just transitioned. So like it's like one part of my life is where I'm still struggling as a leader, as a woman in the military, and now I'm in this other space. The other part of my life is where everybody's a woman, majority, 74% of them are women, and everybody's willing to help.
Right.
So
it's crazy to even think that 74% of the direct sales are women, because here we are talking about women empowerment and equality, and you have people out here who are fighting for women to own companies, and if this is the way it all starts, right, is that the way that we're going to get there is that women, we're going to build our companies from the ground up, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to eventually meet even ground some point, then so be it. But two things that kind of stick out to me is, I think when we see, you were saying that you see more women helping, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the reason, what I think is that we see more women entrepreneurs helping other women, because honestly, that's where their success comes from. That's them leading and empowering and influencing other women. I mean, that's how they run and build their business. It's built on that foundation. And a lot
kind of like help one, reach one, teach one.
Other company, not every company is built that way on that strong foundation. Like, you have to help your employees in order to succeed. If you don't help them, then, but I mean, and not, even in the corporate world, right? You hear all the time, take care of your employees will take care of you.
Right.
But we don't really live by that.
Right.
But as entrepreneurs, your business will, fail otherwise.
Right. If you don't take care of the people beneath you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I kind of jokingly say this, but, one of the comments that I hear most is, everyone's got a side hustle these days. And honestly, I say to the non-entrepreneur, they see this as women hustling, or they don't see us as business owners.
Right. They don't see it as a real job. Right.
It's a side hustle. Like, they just can't fathom that it's actually, you're going to be the CEO of this business. And so, my advice to the entrepreneurs out there is, I say, whether you're exploring entrepreneurship and it's new to you, you're showing people that you have the ability to persevere and overcome your fears. So those that are judging you, they're afraid of receiving the same judgment which they're dishing out right now. So don't allow that to hold you back or to make you second guess the things that you're doing.
Right. Because entrepreneurship, whether you're building your own business, brick and mortar, or you're starting your own boutique, or you're in direct sales, like, it's not easy.
The shit's hard.
It's hard. Like, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of overcoming fears and overcoming rejection and just overcoming tons of bumps in the road.
Right. And it's funny that you say something about rejection. I don't remember I joined a call, like, one of my first times in when I started in the entrepreneur world, and they were like, if you haven't been rejected, then you haven't really worked your business.
Oh yeah. I mean, Eric Worre has a thing, a book on, 100 no, or some kind of, somebody has a book, it's not Eric Worre, but somebody has a book about 100 no's, like getting to 100 no's before you get your first yes or something like that.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that. Yeah. So, well, in closing, I want to share one of my favorite quotes, which is actually from Serena Williams. And she states, every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. We are strongest when we cheer each other on. So for our listeners, I just want to say, let's cheer each other on and show up in our friend's corner or whoever you're supporting, and not just show up in their business and be nosy, like, actually be there to cheer them along. So, we thank you for listening, and
it's okay.
And I was going to say reminder, but we forgot to actually mention it in the beginning, right? We actually, for November, are doing a November giveaway for anyone who writes a review on our Apple, iTunes, your iPhone people podcast, and leave a written review for us. So the link will be in our notes section of the podcast. Definitely go there, check it out, leave us a review, and we hope that you received some value from the podcast. And if you know somebody that may need to hear this message, please definitely share it with them. We hope that you'll join us on our next podcast, and don't forget that you can follow us on Facebook and IG at Fearlessly Inspired Podcast.
Hey, Fearlessly Inspired listeners. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your own phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your broadcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money directly from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.